The information provided in this podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as personal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional or expert in the relevant field for personalised advice tailored to your specific situation.
Welcome to the Wealth Guide podcast, where we dive deep into the world of financial planning and wealth management. I'm your host, Gianni Musumeci, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with someone who brings over 2 decades of experience and a profound understanding of the intricate connection between a person's personality, feelings, and their financial decisions. Joining us is the esteemed executive financial advisor, Jack Oineza. For the past 24 years, Jack Oineza has dedicated himself to helping clients navigate their financial journeys. His career path spans both independent financial advice and the banking sector, providing him a wealth of experience in guiding clients towards their important goals and giving them the confidence to stay on track. Jack is not only committed to continuous learning, but also believes in the power of sharing life experiences as a tool for growth. Jack's diverse clientele ranges from individuals to high net worth clients, and his excellence in his field has been recognized with several accolades, including the prestigious 2016 CEO Award and Financial Advisor of the Year. At Ryker Capital, Jack leverages his extensive experience to make a meaningful difference in his clients' financial well-being, ensuring they achieve their life goals with confidence. In today's episode, we'll explore Jack Oineza's journey in the financial advice industry, delving into what led him towards his career path and what continues to motivate him. We'll discuss the aspects of financial advice he is most passionate about and why he believes his work is so important. Jack will also share insights on his target customer demographic, the specific financial challenges they face, and the strategies he uses to help his clients reach their financial goals. So get ready for an enlightening conversation with Jack Oineza as we uncover the secrets to achieving financial success and learn how personalized financial advice can transform lives. Let's dive into today's episode. So hi Jack, thanks for joining me. First question for you, mate. I really want to understand a little bit about your experience and what led you to financial advice.
Been around the traps, for the saying goes, for the last 24 years, really. 2000 was the day I started, really. Actually, taking it back before that, how it started, I actually met a financial advisor 3 years prior to that.
Yeah.
That's how it began. Actually, funnily enough, it's actually a barbecue. Someone's friend's birthday party. And then from then on, from 2000, started my career in finance, started in superannuation, worked my way up in insurances and things like that. And then finally got my first gig as an advisor in 2005.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that's been the journey. What are we now, 2024?
Yeah, 24 years, yeah.
Yeah, so long time.
It's funny as well how advice always starts off with like a barbecue chat. You know what I mean? And you compare your situation.
Mine literally
yeah,
did.
so
You know, when you get the story, oh, it's another barbecue conversation. Mine literally did started. It's actually a barbecue birthday party. So yeah, it was really weird.
And I think that's one of the aspects as well, when people start to compare themselves to other people as well and their financial situation and say, well, hey, what did you do? Or, hey, what do you think I should do? It's really sort of the beginnings of setting financial goals. How do those discussions sort of go, really, when you sit down with a client for the first time and say, well, what are your financial goals? What are those sort of discussions like?
Yeah, it's obviously depending on the clients per se. If it's the first time seeing someone, it can be quite daunting and a bit nervous, because it's like me seeing someone, an orthopedic surgeon. I've never had done that surgery. So there's always a bit of nerves running to the client and not sure what the expectations are. So I guess like anything, you just make them feel a bit comfortable in that conversation and set the expectation in the beginning. You know, this is what we're going to go through today. More of just see what's important to them and what they're planning to do before talking numbers and all that stuff. Because most people think about, we're going to think about numbers and things like that. So I think you just got to set expectations, find out what they're about, what they're doing at the moment, and really lead into that conversation, see what's important to them and what's ultimately what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, because I can imagine that the conversation will go one or two ways. When people start to divulge their sort of goals, they can be very, either emotional or unemotional, because I can imagine like,
Correct.
I want $1 million is one side of the coin.
Correct.
And the other side of the coin is I want to be financially free as well. How does that conversation goes maybe from both perspectives?
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously we live in a world of Google, YouTube, TikTok, so name it. So they would have done a little bit of studying, homework to see, what do I expect out of this outcome from financial advice? Obviously, those words, financial freedom, retirement, comfortably. So I do discuss those things, but I really get down to the nitty gritty and say, what does retirement look like to you? As opposed to, I want $1 million, right? So for example, yeah, great. I want to retire on $100,000. Okay, well, tell me a little bit, what would you be doing in retirement? So it opens up a little to get to know that client a little bit more intimately in that sense. Yes, the numbers, that's our job.
Yeah.
But I think it's critically important to really find out, well, hey, okay, are you going to be doing fishing? What are you going to do? Are you going to enjoy holidays? So finding those nitty-gritty things, it kind of leads into that financial side of things, because obviously that's the vehicle to get there. So I think that's ultimately what I aim to do.
Awesome. And is that what motivates you about financial advice? Do people start to get so excited when they talk about their goals?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's, sometimes obviously they don't know you yet. It takes time to build up. And when they start to think about, well, you know what? I'd like to really spend more time with the grandkids. I don't think I can do that now. So when you start to tell them, oh, hold on, maybe there's a way we can do that. And they start to think, I was like, you get the reaction. That alone, it's more value for money in terms of, $100,000 for them to see, well, I can play more golf. That in itself, that's a goal.
Yeah, because I think that some people have a misconception around money as well.
Correct.
A lot of people may look at money and think a few negative aspects about it, like money is the root of all evil. That's the common saying. But I feel, and you and I both know, that money is just a tool to get you where you're going from point A to point B. How do you sort of educate people on that conversation?
Keyword, educate. You said it, Gianni. Perfectly, eloquently said it. It's like in anything, in any industry, so you have to educate your clients. What that looks like for them. So it's a matter of really finding out what they're comfortable and what they're comfortable with. And you find the balance between those two roles to educate them, whatever that may be. Whether it's retirement planning, whether it's kids' education, what does it look like for them? Whether they're thinking, well, hold on, we need to look at investing now.
Yeah.
Whatever the case might be.
We've talked a lot about education as well. Is that the most a passionate aspect of financial planning that you're intrigued about, that you're passionate about?
I believe the reason I say it's a personal preference in my eyes. The reason is because somebody spent some time with me when I was starting in my career. He's educated me.
Yeah.
His name is John Sullivan. He looks like the KFC Colonel. Okay. He looks like that. He's got a white hair.
Yeah.
Very nice fella.
Yeah.
Long story short, he spent 10, 15 minutes of his time to educate me.
Yeah.
And guess what happened? It led me to where I am today. It's part of that.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer that you can educate someone from starting out all the way to someone's have done well for themselves. It's a key piece, I would believe. Yeah.
Look, I think there's two types of education, but either way, you pay for this education.
Correct.
There's education through mistakes, and then education's through a financial services professional. Correct. And unfortunately, I remember making a mistake as early as the age of 16. I learned about bonds and debentures in high school, and I walked up to a bank teller and said, "I want to invest in bonds." Yeah. So what sort of journey do you take people on when you start to educate them upon their financial situation, really?
So, perfect way to educate someone is really giving them life examples of life.
Yeah.
Life is busy.
Yeah.
And if you give them real concrete life examples, existing clients or clients that real scenario you've dealt with, and you relate to their situation, that becomes live in their head, and they can see, we can see ourselves doing that.
Yeah.
Based on the situation that Jack's done. And so by means of educating. So I think relating particular scenarios or life scenarios, it does wonders.
Yeah.
It does wonders.
And I think people see themselves in the case studies as well. Because if you just read through a textbook,
kind of filtering through that and thinking, wow, okay, yep.
Yeah. Or I can see myself in that position, or that matches my demographic as well. And they align themselves. And I think that's why those barbecue chats are so powerful as well. Because you look, as men, we align ourselves with, or fathers, we align ourselves with other dads as well.
Yes.
So we see ourselves in the case study.
Yeah.
Is that the target demographic that you're most sort of aligned with? We talked a little bit about pre-retirees and retirees.
You know what? I've worked with many other professionals. That's a common question I get.
Yeah.
It's probably the same answer I would say to you as well. I don't have a target market per se. I believe that if I'm able to help someone at the early stages, again, that John Sullivan did 10, 15 minutes of his time, and plant that seed moving forward, right? And obviously you've got other ones that looking for advice, that people would maybe have a lot of funds to invest and things like that. Obviously that's quite exciting as well. I find both things quite exciting on both sides of the fence. So I don't have a particular target market, if you want to put it that way, but I know other advisory practices do. But I believe if you plant that seed to help someone out, they come back.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a firm believer of that.
Yeah. Look, I think if anything, if you genuinely want to help somebody and you have, you put all your effort into it and you're an outcome focused advisor, I think either way, like you've aligned with anybody that's looking just to up their financial literacy levels, if anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
And in a perfect example, last night I was having a chat with a young couple, and then the reaction was like, that means like didn't realize something they mislooked at. In their early stage, I didn't have to do an actual plan and just educate them now. They were very thankful of that.
Yeah.
I think later on stage, they'll come back and seek more advice.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
And I think that's the problem with this day and age as well, is there is so much misinformation online, or just even there's a mass amount of information in general. People don't know what's true or what applies to them. If anything, that is one of the benefit of what applies to a financial advisor, is the personalized, tailored advice.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, correct.
And that being said, how do you sort of go about analyzing a person's situation, understanding what their goals are, and mapping out that strategy?
Yeah, so each advice will have a process. I have a process in the sense that I share, go through what I call a data analysis. After I've had a chat with them, what's really important, just to show them where they are on the more of a helicopter overview, or a different lens from my perspective. And I engage them to see what they're seeing from their lens as well. Because obviously I do this for a living. I always tell them. And I always say, from your eyes, from your lens, how do you see where I can assist you with or help you with? By having them say that, it's more powerful than me actually dictating. And this going back to your conversation of educating. Because for them to tell me what they need, they've learned what's important to them. Rather than me saying, you need to do this, more of the dictatorship rather than being engaged in that process. I think that's quite.
And I think as well, just presenting the information back to them, because look, you will always have a personal bias towards your own financial situation, because I manage my own finances, I do this, I do that, but then it's just a matter of, hey, this is what I see from a holistic approach, and this is you're going down the wrong path, or yes, you're doing okay, but you can actually take a better path to reach your goals a little bit quicker as well. So I call it the dance floor versus the balcony view.
Nice.
The dance floor view, you're up and close with your partner, but from the balcony, what's the difference? Yeah.
That's good.
So presenting that back to her and dispelling any sort of confirmation bias or personal biases that you have. Yeah.
It's important that the 80-20 rule is that you let them talk, then we talk.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, but sometimes it's a challenge because we do this for a living and we see immediately what are the gaps already, and we go to a solution mode without really understanding, is that really appropriate for them? So sometimes our job is always just take a step back and let them, comprehend what we're trying to educate them as well. So it's a bit of balance.
Yeah. Today's episode of the Wealth Guide podcast is proudly sponsored by Ryker Capital. In a world full of financial uncertainties, Ryker Capital understand the importance of safeguarding your lifestyle and the well-being of your loved ones. That's why we're committed to providing you with personally tailored insurance plans and financial advice that aligns with your unique needs and goals. Ryker Capital is your guide in the complex world of superannuation and retirement planning. Our team of experts are dedicated to helping you navigate these complexities with ease and confidence. We're here to empower you with the knowledge and strategies you need to build wealth and secure your future. At Ryker Capital, we offer a comprehensive range of services designed to optimize your superannuation. We work closely with you to determine the best contribution strategy, regularly review your superannuation fund, set achievable financial goals. Our coaching and consulting services ensure your financial plan stays on track with regular reviews to adjust to your changing circumstances and aspirations. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Take control today with Ryker Capital. Contact us for an obligation-free discussion about your financial plan by calling us on 1300 179 537. Let us help you secure your finances because you deserve it. Ryker Capital, your trusted partner in financial success. And it's also a good opportunity to dispel any myths. Like there's a lot of trends that are coming up and about now, like NFTs and crypto and the latest tax hacks or every 10 seconds somebody hears about negative gearing for investment property. And look, they might be good strategies in their own right, but they're not exactly applicable to your financial situation. As well.
The funny thing you mentioned that tax is one thing. We all want to save tax. I always question, again, educate them is, why do you want to save tax? What's the reason? You have to go deeper. What's the real reason? Because I want to build wealth. That's the reason. Tax is an outcome of what we're trying to do. So they go, okay, that's not a goal. Right? It's an outcome of what we're trying to do. So when they used to explain that in their terms, they understand. Yes, Jack. Yes, of course. I always say, who doesn't want to save tax? I do.
I think as well, that comes back to somewhat of an emotional bias. Like people don't want to pay tax because they see it as throwing money away or giving it, like there's a negative connotation around giving money away to the government.
And also TikToks and things like that, they clickbait. So, save tax in there. So I get it. So our job is, again, to explain them how that relates to them individually.
And even that conversation again about educating people around their goals as well, because look, we may have 3, 4, 5 goals, and yes, by doing that you will save on tax. However, it will have a negative effect on goals 3 and 4. So it's all around about prioritizing your goals. So there might be, like, to have that conversation, there might be, yes, you are saving tax. However, you're also decreasing the likelihood of achieving goals 3 and 4.
The way to prioritize that is really just have a robust conversation, very open. Always upfront with the clients. I actually say I'm unemotionally attached to this as opposed to you guys. So give them the direction, foreground, and then really nut down what are the key goals we need to focus on, and what some of the things that we need to compromise on. And that's really it.
Let's say, for example, we've put goals in place, we've put our initial plan together. What's the sort of process from then on? How do we monitor how we're tracking?
So key goals, for example, you've got a car, there's nothing wrong with it, but you still have to check it once a year to make sure it's still running. It's the same process. It's just like a doctor, you still check in once in a while just to make your health is okay. So I explain it in a way that we have to check in if we're achieving what we set to do, what we originally planned. Now, life's not a straight line. I always say this to clients, and things will change. We need to adapt. But probably is a word I always say to the clients, that we need to adapt to whatever's happening out there, whether that's out of our control or it's within your control. We need to adapt those things. And obviously, my job is to make sure that we continue that path that we're trying to do. Now, like I said, that's not a straight line. But I always say to clients that you need your engagement as well. This is your plan. It's a living, breathing plan. Some people think it's a living, breathing plant. It's a plan.
Yeah. And look, that's the thing as well. I think that, well, look, to give an example, I think Warren Buffett said it best. He used the analogy, what if you were given a car, but that car is the only car that you're ever allowed to drive for the rest of your life? What would you do? You'd learn, how the car works. You'd read the manual inside and out. You'd baby that car for the rest of your life.
Right.
And that's true for life as well. Like you only have one life. Life is short enough, and your working life is even shorter.
Yep.
So that being said, like, why wouldn't you maximize the amount of, attention that you give it, if anything, and have people help you and create a team, put a team around you as well?
Exactly right. So it is that you can't be an expert of everything. Whilst our job is to kind of project management those things. But the same token, there's certain situation we might engage, mortgage broker, for example, an accountant or solicitor, and collaboratively work in that tangent, obviously on behalf of the clients first.
Yeah.
That's a key goal.
No, 100%. And often I think of financial advisors in that almost coaching role to say, hey, I'm the coach of this team or I'm the captain of this team. Let's get the accountant in. Let's get the mortgage broker in, family lawyer, commercial lawyer, property lawyer, whichever, and get everybody around this person so that we can, help them achieve their financial goals and get the best out of life.
And then you become the go-to person for everything. Yeah. That becomes, everything goes through Gianni or Jack, and they'll sort it out from that perspective.
Not me, I'm not an advisor.
But you got a go-to person in that sense.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. And I think if anything, that's the ultimate form of respect. If a client comes back to you and said, look, I know that, you don't do law, but,
Yeah, I think that's, a lot of people use the word trust loosely, but I think you need to prove you earned that. Yeah. And there's many metrics that solidify that, hold on, this person does trust me, So such as that, while, like you said, they might need a tax. I know you're not a tax accountant, Jack, but someone they can work with, because they know if they go through yourself, they know that you're going to be trusted in that sense process. So it actually very complimentary when you hear things like that,
Yeah, for sure.
From my side of the fence.
It must be.
It is. So it gives you a good sense of purpose. Right?
Because again, when you build that trust, you build that rapport and trust initially, and you're completely transparent and you educate people along the process, you have their trust, like their financial future is in your hands.
Correct.
So really, if anything, you've got clients for life, or you've got more than that, you've got a relationship for life.
Yeah, you take it a sense of responsibility. I've always said this to clients as well. If it's a test for my mom, if it doesn't work for my mom, that test analogy is for your family. If it doesn't, there's a test that you need to, it's integrity is part of that as well. And, if it's doing the right thing, I think it ultimately, as simple as that may be, doing the right thing can go a long way. Yeah, there's temptations there, but if you make sure your client focus, you do the right thing, what's solely for the client, everything will follow.
Yeah. And we talk about this a little bit in financial advice circles, or even customer service circles. Like, would I provide this advice to my mum and dad?
Correct.
Or even the hospitality industry, we used to say, like, would I serve this food to my mum and dad, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, very good. So look, Jack, really appreciate you taking the time. Yeah. If anybody wants to ask you anything else about financial advice or financial literacy, how's the best way to do so?
Contact us at Ryker, and there's a 1-300 number there.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's it.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks very much for your time, Jack.
Appreciate it, Gianni.
Take care. If you enjoy the content we bring you on the Wealth Guide podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe and share with your community. Let's grow this community together and make financial literacy accessible to all.